When I opened that door and saw Daniel standing there with his camera, his eyes finding mine through the lens, something deep inside me stirred, something I thought had died years ago. I'm Margaret, 42, a woman who'd convinced herself that passion was a chapter firmly closed in the story of her life. But that snow-swept morning would shatter every assumption I'd ever made about second chances. The blizzard had transformed our quiet Vermont town into a crystalline wonderland. I stood at the kitchen window, warming my hands around a mug of chamomile tea, watching the snowflakes perform their silent waltz earthward. My son Nathan had left for university just 2 months prior, and the house still ached with his absence, every room echoing with memories of his laughter, now replaced by an oppressive quiet. The divorce had been final for 3 years, but the emotional dissolution had begun long before that. My ex-husband Robert had abandoned our marriage first in every way that mattered, then finally made it official. Love had become something I read about in novels, something that happened to other people, until that transformative morning when Daniel, Nathan's closest friend since childhood, appeared at my door. "Good morning, Mrs. Harrison," he said, his smile carrying traces of boyish charm now anchored by something more substantial, more grounded. "I was driving through the neighborhood and thought of you. I'm developing a photography series, portraits that capture the truth beneath the surface. Would you consider letting me photograph you?" A self-conscious laugh escaped my lips as I tucked a wayward strand of auburn hair behind my ear. "Me? Daniel, I'm hardly an inspiring subject." "That's where you're wrong," he said, his voice carrying quiet conviction. "You've lived. That's exactly what I want to capture, the depth that comes from experience." Something in his words pierced through my defenses. Perhaps it was the sincerity radiating from his gaze, or the self-assured presence that had replaced the uncertain teenager I'd known for nearly a decade. Against my better judgment, I found myself agreeing. We ventured to the frozen lake behind my property, where fresh snow had draped itself across the ice like fine linen. The world felt suspended, holding its breath, almost sacred in its stillness. Daniel adjusted his camera with practiced hands, occasionally lifting his eyes to meet mine with a focus that made my pulse quicken unexpectedly. "Tilt your chin slightly toward the light," he murmured. "Yes, exactly like that. Beautiful." Each shutter click resonated like a heartbeat marking time. Each softly spoken direction chipped away at the protective armor I'd carefully constructed over the years. When genuine laughter bubbled up from somewhere I'd forgotten existed, he smiled in response. And when our eyes locked, I momentarily forgot the boundaries that should have separated us. Forgot he was my son's friend, forgot the years between us, forgot everything except the strange electricity crackling in the frozen air. Later, warming ourselves back inside, he opened his laptop to show me the images he'd captured. The woman staring back at me from the screen stole my breath. She wasn't the exhausted, resigned person who'd been shuffling through life on autopilot. This woman glowed. She looked present, alive. "Do you see her?" Daniel asked, pointing at the screen with something like wonder in his voice. "That's who you are when you stop hiding behind your walls." His observation cut deeper than I was prepared for. I'd spent years concealing myself behind motherhood, behind grief, behind the safe predictability of routine. Now someone had seen through all of it. The fireplace crackled softly in the living room. Warmth filled the space, mingling with the rhythmic sound of snow brushing against the windows like whispered secrets. "I'm incredibly proud of you, Daniel," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "You've become such a remarkably talented man." He settled into the chair across from me, his expression open and vulnerable. "You were always kind to me, Mrs. Harrison. When my mother passed away, you were the only person who genuinely checked on me. You probably don't realize it, but that compassion saved me during the darkest period of my life." I remembered. He'd been 17 then, shattered and adrift. I'd offered whatever comfort I could because it felt like the humane thing to do. But now, sitting across from this grown man with shadows of old pain still lingering in his eyes, that comfort had transformed into something else entirely, something tender yet weighted with complexity. A profound silence stretched between us, filled only by the fire's gentle conversation with itself. Neither of us rushed to break it. "Can I ask you something personal?" he finally said. "Of course. Do you ever feel like your real life is still waiting to begin? Like everything so far has just been rehearsal?" The question pierced straight through me. I felt my throat tighten, the truth of it settling heavy in my chest. "Every single day," I whispered. He held my gaze for what felt like an eternity. "Then maybe it's time someone reminded you what it feels like to truly live." The atmosphere shifted, became charged with possibility and danger in equal measure. My heart hammered against my ribs. I stood abruptly, needing to move, needing to create distance, desperately searching for something to occupy my trembling hands. But when I turned back, he had risen too, standing closer than before. We simply looked at each other, two lonely souls bound by unspoken understanding, separated by years and circumstances, yet pulled together by something neither could articulate. "Daniel," I breathed, my voice fracturing. We can't." "I know," he said softly. "But this honesty between us, that's real." I retreated a step, pulse thundering in my ears. "You should leave." He hesitated, then nodded slowly, understanding flickering across his features. "I'm sorry. I never meant to make you uncomfortable." At the door, he paused and turned back one final time. "Keep those photographs, Margaret. They show the woman I see, not the diminished version you've convinced yourself you've become." After he left, the silence felt suffocating. I sank onto the sofa before the dying fire, my eyes fixed on the silver bracelet he'd accidentally left on the coffee table, a simple chain with a small compass pendant. That night, I dreamed of snow and fire, of warmth conquering cold, of boundaries dissolving like frost beneath morning sun. The next day, Daniel returned for his bracelet. I could have left it on the porch, could have avoided seeing him again. But something within me, some newly awakened part, needed this encounter. When I opened the door, his eyes found mine immediately, and I recognized the same uncertainty reflected back at me, the same unspoken connection humming between us. He smiled softly. "I should be honest. I didn't come only for the bracelet." I didn't ask him to explain. Perhaps I already understood. We stood in the doorway, two souls caught in an unexpected storm, neither of us quite ready to step fully in or completely away. But even in that charged moment, I understood something profound. Some stories aren't about crossing forbidden lines. They're about standing at the edge, acknowledging the line exists because love, in all its varied forms, demands restraint, courage, and conscious choice. That day I chose to step back. Not because I didn't feel the pull between us, but because I finally grasped what Daniel had truly given me. A reminder that I remained capable of being seen, of being admired, of being fundamentally beautifully alive. He smiled, nodding as though he could read the decision in my eyes. "You seem different. Lighter somehow." "I am," I whispered and meant it completely. As he walked away into the falling snow, I understood that love doesn't always need to be claimed or consummated to transform you. Sometimes, simply remembering that your heart can still feel is enough to change everything. If this story touched something inside you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever experienced an unexpected connection that reminded you who you truly are? Share your story. Let's create a space where we can be honest about the complexity of human emotion. And if this resonated with you, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories that explore the beautiful, complicated landscape of the human heart. Thank you for being here with me today.